Hello people, fellow YouTubers, it is me, Steve Nosey, back again for another video, and as you can see, it's at the page. A little bit later than originally scheduled to be released. The reason why, I literally completely utterly forgot about it. At this moment in time, I've had other things on my mind, personal things in my family and stuff like that, and work. I've been putting a bit more extra shifts in at work, so I've not had much of me time. I've been actually taking up one of my days off, a week off, for the last 2 months. So my mind's more or less been in work mode, and when I try to get easy, chill out, I've just not had any morale whatsoever. So I've just basically been just sat about bored. So yeah, hence why hence with all doing extra hours at work and everything, I completely forgot about this Q&A answer video. Thank you to Nick Bubs for reminding me. I really appreciate it, sir. You are awesome. And thank you to everybody, including Nick Bubs, for participating. I really appreciate your questions. Anyways, I will progress. So, thank you to Nick for ramming his foot up my arse to get myself in gear. So, here we go with your questions, and I am going to answer them. Okay, so here are the questions, and I will then answer them. So first of all, it's Mr. John35, and he has asked me, I think, 4 questions in total. So the first one: where would you work if you could work anywhere? Right, how can I answer that? Now, when I was really young, I had this little ambition in my head that I would love to be an archaeologist. When I was very young, I'd love to have done that, and I still to this day would love to delve into that somehow. The reason why I got to that assumption is basically I used to watch an awful lot of documentaries when I was younger, on ancient Egypt, the pharaohs, the pyramids, and the archaeology digs that they did, and covering it all. As well as I used to watch Time Team when I was younger, and all about watching all medieval stuff being dug up and Roman stuff, and anything to do with that, Anglo-Saxons, Vikings, anything to do with that, I was absolutely fascinated with, and I would have loved, and to this day I would love to have been an archaeologist. But not just that, when I was younger I also would love to have been a firefighter, or a fireman, because I have such admiration, such respect for the fire service. They put themselves at risk on a daily basis, and going to a burning building or anything, they just absolutely amaze me with their bravery. They don't see what I love about it is that they just see it as an everyday job. They don't see themselves as being saints, or they don't see themselves as being a hero. They just see themselves as a normal person paying the taxes, a normal person working a job, getting paid. That's what they think. That's what they think of, and that's what I love about it. That's what I love about the firefighters. They don't think of themselves as heroes. They're not up their own asses. They're not self-conscious in that respect. Like, oh, look at us, we're we're firefighters. We go into fires. We save your life. And that's basically one way that I've always admired firefighters. But to be realistic, in this day and age, I really would love to delve into anything to do acting-wise, whether it's screen or movie, or voice acting. Voice acting is probably the only thing that I could probably get myself into, but it's getting yourself noticed. But that would probably be things I'd love to look into. I'd also love to do cartooning, animation, stuff like that. That's, yeah. Moving on. Again, Mr. John, what do you think makes Ed so happy? Now, Ed Bubble Jumper 82, basically, I think Bumble Jumper 82, he takes something that's, he takes something before he goes on camera, because quite frankly, it is so weird and so interesting to know somebody and also watch videos of somebody who is constantly that happy, even when he's under the weather, which he has been quite as of late. He's not been feeling too great due to a cold or something, and but whenever he's made a video, he's still happy, even though he's feeling crap. And if honestly, if I'm feeling crap on a video, I look like I'm about to die. So yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know what makes him so happy. All I can think of is either he dives in a load of sugar or kale eye or something and comes out and he goes. I honestly have no idea. He's just an interesting person. Right, another one. If you could be anyone famous, who would it be? Well, like I said, I'd love to do voice acting and things like that. And my ultimate favourite, mainly because thanks to my childhood, growing up with Beast Wars and anything Transformers like that, I would love to be, if I could, if I could be anyone famous, I would love to be Scott McNeil. Scott McNeil, he is, I mean, a lot of people think, really? I'd have thought I would have picked Frank Welker or Peter Cullen or, I don't know, Nancy Cartwright. If she was a woman, I wouldn't because I am a woman. But, an example. But, yeah, I'd have to say Scott McNeil, because the reason why is because he is literally probably one of the most down-to-earth people I've ever met, because I have met him, as well as Gary Chalk. Both great guys. But the reason why I want to say is because Scott McNeil is because, one, he's all one for the fans. He wants to be there for his fans. He wants to get involved with his fans. He wants to give back all that love and attention that he's got for his acting, and give that appreciation back to his fans. And I see that as myself a little bit. I know it sounds a little bit big-headed, but me personally, I'm very much like that. If I was a voice actor and I got a bit of fame, or if I was well known in, let's say, like the nerd community of people, or the otakus if it's anime related, if I'm known quite well for doing voice dub or voiceover or English dub, that kind of stuff, I would definitely do that myself. I wouldn't change myself. I wouldn't change my image. I wouldn't be somebody who I aren't, because I don't believe in that. I would still be me. Plain and simple, I would still be me. And I would literally, every time I go to a convention, I will give it my all to entertain them, because, I would give it my all to give back my appreciation to those fans. And that's what I love about Scott McNeil. I'm not saying Scott McNeil's the only person that does that. Gary Chalk also does it. Greg Berger, he's a great example of that. But for me, because of my childhood and growing up with Beast Wars, and he voiced some of the most influential characters from my childhood, I would so have to say Scott McNeil. Moving on, Autobot or Decepticon? Decepticon, mainly because if I was an Autobot, if I was an Autobot, I would want to be a Wrecker. Because Wreckers are very much a rogue. They're Autobots, they're good, but they don't live by the same principles as the normal Autobots do. They're all about destruction, destroy any trace of a Decepticon. And I would love to be a Wrecker. if I was an Autobot. But because I'd love to, me personally, I'd be a Decepticon because one, Decepticons are usually cooler because they've got probably better alt modes half the time, and you know, and plus you don't have to live by rules. If you was an Autobot, you'd have to live by rules. But if I was a Decepticon, or if I was a Transformer, I'd have to be a Decepticon, or possibly a Rogue. Probably not an Autobot or Decepticon. I'm kind of just in the void. You know, a bit like, I think it's animated Oil Slick. You know, in Oil Slick animated, he wasn't a Decepticon, he wasn't Autobot, he was a Rogue, he was like a bounty hunter. So, I don't know. Whatever makes my preference if I was anything like that. Moving on to Rave1X Xavier. His question list basically was a bit of a dig at me changing my name back to TF Knowsley. So he basically said, so my question is, what is your next name you're considering calling yourself, and how many hours will that last? I can't really answer that, to be honest, because at the top of my head, I cannot think of any name I would like to call myself on YouTube. I mean, to be honest, the reason why I did change it to Toy Freak is basically that's something I've always thought of myself as, subconsciously, personally. You know, I collect toys, and I think of myself as a bit of a freak because I do it, and just a bit of a dig at myself, basically, and that's why I would call myself Toy Freak for that small period of time. But I don't know. If I did, it'd probably be maybe a Transformers name or a certain Transform that's my favourite. Maybe, but I don't know. I don't know. I personally have no idea. Probably won't last long either. Duration probably lasts about as long as Toy Freak did. But anyway, thank you. Moving on to Rat Trap Phil. Thank you, sir. His questions are: number one, comic. I think that was meant. I'm sorry, I don't know if it's meant to be manga or anime. You're meant to be saying there because it's spelt wrong. Me personally, without getting into a confrontation with a certain individual known as Dave Keller Prime, I would so choose manga or anime, anything Japanese like that. I would take over American. Why are you probably screaming at your camera? I mean, don't forget. I mean, don't get me wrong. I honestly do enjoy the odd American comic, say like Transformers RDW comic or something like that. You know, I do enjoy the odd comic, but when it comes to manga, I don't know what it is. It's just you have to be an otaku. You have to be an extreme anime fan and manga fan to understand the feeling that manga gives or anime gives them. You know, if somebody who doesn't understand that will not get it. You have to be literally reading it or watching it just about on a daily basis in order to understand what we love about it so much. And so I don't know. I really can't really answer that because I don't know. It's hard but just for the question's sake, I would pick manga over comics or anime over comics. I don't know, Japanese stuff. Because to me, I just feel there's a lot more element there to them than anything else out there. And I'm not the only one that would believe it. You know, every fan that's an anime fan, not just that, any fan that's probably a geek would probably say they'd probably prefer manga or anime over most of the cartoons that we're getting at the moment from America, original animations and stuff like that. You know, we're not getting that much interest. We're not getting anything really that interesting. Comic books, yeah, we are, because obviously we've got Last Stand of the Wreckers. At the moment, we're Robots in Disguise and all that kind of stuff, which are fantastic story series, because I am reading that myself, so I know what I'm talking about. But yeah, just for the benefit of that question, it would have to be manga, because I've got more of it than anything else, and I really like it. So tough luck. His second question is bot or con. Again, it would, if I was a bot, I would be a wrecker. If I was a con, I would probably most likely be a con, because I don't, if I was a transformer, I wouldn't want to live by rules. I want to be my own bot. I'd do my own thing. Or even easier, I'll probably just be a rogue. I won't have a logo or signia or anything. I'll just be my own bot. Anything like that. Next one from him, Takara or Hasbro? Well, we can argue as much as we can about Hasbro. Hasbro have given us some interesting and awesome figures, but they are very wide and far between. Most of the Beast Wars line that Hasbro, well, actually, it wasn't Hasbro it was actually a different toy place that actually produced most of the Beast Wars toys, but it was also Hasbro that was a part of it as well. I don't know, I mean, you got to say, Hasbro brought us the Transformers from Japan, and they made the toys and made them more available out in America and elsewhere, and also they started the G1 cartoon, Transformers. So if it wasn't for Hasbro bringing it over from Japan to America, we wouldn't have Transformers. But saying that, I'm more of a fan. I prefer the Takara stuff. I prefer the Takara Masterpiece stuff, and I think that I just prefer the Takara toy lines, because I just like them. The plastic condition's a lot better usually. Yeah, you have to pay a little bit more, but half the time they're worth it. Then after that, do you think The Simpsons has had its time? Or yeah, but I think that's what it's meant to mean. So basically, do you think The Simpsons is at an end, or has had its day? Well, it's been going on for a fair few years. Me personally, I've not been watching any of the recent episodes. I haven't watched it for years. So, to be honest, it is kind of running out its course, I think, because next year, I think it's either next year or the year after, they'll be doing a Family Guy crossover with The Simpsons. So yeah, that'd be kind of cool. And that's probably one thing to say. And also, they've killed off. They're going to be killing off a character. Now we know kind of who it could be, or is going to be. But I'm going to say, if you haven't heard the news lately about a certain voice actress who played a certain character, yeah, you probably know now. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably getting that way now. I think it's starting to run its course, and I think they're going to probably finish it in the next couple of years. Probably get a few more seasons out. Probably might even get another movie out. I don't know. I'll have to see. Thanks for that, Phil. Moving on to the Mighty Grimlock. Basically, what is your favourite number and why? Very quickly, I don't have a favourite number. Explanation for that, I've never thought about it. So, sorry about that. Question 2. Brad Dourif. Is he all that? Brad Dourif, is he all that? Right, well, you're probably trying to associate with, is he mentally alright? Well, me personally, I only really know Brad Dourif from voicing Chucky from the Child's Play movies and other stuff. To be honest with you, I think he's I think it's kind of interesting that he's able to make such a sinister, interesting character to to bring Chucky to life. You have to be kind of a interesting individual to really bring something like that out and make that character work. So, in light of the question, I would say he probably isn't all that here. He's probably very strange tendencies if you want to make a murderous little doll come together, and he's just like, that kind of thing. Yeah, a bit weird. Right, so moving on. Korma or Vindaloo? Korma or Vindaloo? Korma. No. I don't know. I'm not a curry person. Never have been, but if I had to choose for the sake of it, I don't mind spicy, but I don't like it like Vindaloo hot, which is fucking. Yeah, I'm a wimp, so I say Korma. Thanks for that, mate. Awesome. Alright, so moving on. Bumble Jumper 82. His questions are: if you could punch any celebrity in the face without them knowing, who would it be and why? Quite simply, Justin Bieber. And why? Because he's a cunt. I don't like him. And he has literally no talent whatsoever. He's just shit. He's an asshole. So yeah. Number 2, who would win in a fight between James Bond and Indiana Jones? Very good question, actually. I mean, they're probably just as skillful in fighting hand-to-hand combat as each other. Indiana Jones obviously has his mighty whip of justice, and James Bond has his fancy gadgets and his cars. So I honestly can't really think that, actually. I mean, I think James Bond would probably pull it off just. I mean, it's James Bond. He always, it starts off a bit rocky, but he ends up winning in the end, and he ends up getting the girl in the end as well. So I'd probably put my money down on James Bond for him ending up winning it, thanks to his gadgets. But if you're thinking about the modern day James Bond, I think Indiana Jones would own Daniel Craig's. Right, okay. So 3. Which Decepticon would you be? Which Decepticon would be the greatest asset to the Autobots if he switched sides? Wow. Very good question, mate. Very good question. Well, I don't know. That's a bloody good question. Well, imagine if the Constructicons, like Devastator, Menasor, and all those ones, I wonder if they kind of one day said, right, fuck this, and went to the Autobot side, I'd say they were the greatest asset. Because really, outnumbered. Obviously, the Autobots have their own Constructicons. They have their own combiners. Sorry. If the Decepticon ones went onto their side, the Autobot side as well, they'll have twice, so there'll be more of a force to be reckoned with. So, but making it a little more realistic, character, that's bloody good. I wouldn't say Stars. Actually, I'd say Soundwave. I'd say Decepticon. I'd say Soundwave, because if you think about it, Soundwave is the heart. He is of the Decepticon side. He is the one that kind of makes the plans work well, and he's also Megatron's right-hand man. And he will probably know an awful lot more to Megatron than anyone else would know about, because obviously Soundwave's always there by his side. So if you think about it, I think Soundwave would be bloody awesome if he was an Autobot. Because one, he'd work alongside Blaster, so they're both, they both do the same function in that respect. Plus, they've both got cassette bots between them, and Soundwave's a communication specialist as well as Blaster is. So I think those two together would be an awesome team, and Soundwave will probably be able to come up with an interesting plan to bring the Decepticons down finally. I don't know. I'd say Soundwave would be awesome as an asset for the Autobots if he switched. Right, so next one is Bubs. Bubs himself. Bubs, your uncle. Right. His question. This is one that I probably not going to be able to answer. Right. Do you think the phenotypical difference between males and females in our species is high enough? I've honestly no idea what phenotypic means. I could honestly tell. I knew Bubs would probably come up with some sort of question like that. Honestly, I do not know. Honestly, personally, I honestly do not know what the hell. I honestly don't know what phenotypic means. I'm probably going to end up getting playing laughing my ass off now. Probably people are going to be like, you don't know what that means? Oh my god. Honestly, I'm going to answer that because if I give a question off the top of my head, I'll probably end up get shammed. Right, so I'm going to move on. Save my humanity. Right, SMS number 1 question. What do you like now that you didn't really like before? I'd have to put down Guinness. Straight and simple. Beer, alcohol, Guinness. Because obviously when I was younger, well, I'm going to say Guinness, basically, because, Guinness, when I was younger, I tried Guinness when I was probably in my late kid childhood to early teens. I just tried a sip of it at home, because my dad drinks Guinness, and I just tried a bit, and I was like, oh, that's so awful. And then, when I struck the age of about 18, I never touched Guinness for all that period of time. And when I got to about 17, 18, I thought, you know what, I'll have a Guinness and just give it a try one more time. And I loved it from that point on. I thought, why didn't I like it before? But, yeah, for some reason, my taste buds must have got used to it. So I don't know, but yeah. So I didn't like it before, now I love it. So I'd say Guinness for that question, just to be random. Right, next question is from Brad Exilian, XLR, and his question is, what is Daz Knowles' favouritism? Honestly. So basically, what is Knowles' favourite colour, and does he have a favourite toy that colour? My favourite colour is blue, and I would say Soundwave would fuck that. What? I'd say Soundwave, because Soundwave is probably one of my favourite Transformer characters, and because of Soundwave being blue, I'd say purple, then becomes black. I don't know, but I'd say blue. But I honestly, I think because blue's my favourite colour, and blue works with Soundwave well. Yeah, they don't fuck that blue, but if it's blue. Yeah, so I think that kind of answers your question. Next one, Action Jackman. His question was, Action Jackman, really boring, but it's all I can think I ever think of. Holy Grail. So basically, what is it, and do you think you will ever get it? Well, my Holy Grails, one of them one of them I actually own at the moment. I got at Auto Assembly. I got to Auto Assembly this year, 2013, and that was G1 Devastator, because I've been trying to get my hands on a G1 Devastator for many years. And finally got round to getting one. I got the cartoon on Anime Correct Colors version, Takara re-release. So that's probably one of my Holy Grails. But the main Holy Grail figure-wise I would love to own, and I probably would love to own all three versions, is fucking hell, I forgot my names. You know, Grand Max, Fort Max, you know, all the three versions. I'd love to own all the three versions of that mold. They're extremely expensive and pretty hard to get all of them. You're more likely to, obviously, you can get Fort Max, because obviously they re-released them, didn't they? But I'd love to get the other colour variated other forms of that. That'd be awesome. Also, to say another one in there, I'd love to get Black Zarek, Black Scorponok, but yeah, I probably will never get that in my lifetime. But yeah, they're probably my Holy Grails I would love to own. Now this is Bubs again, because I uploaded another video saying, right, update, please, if you want to get involved, if you haven't already, let me know. And Bubs came back for the second time and asked the second question. So, his second question, seeing as I couldn't answer your first one, I can probably hopefully answer this one. So, right, if Peter Cullen were to come to your house, what would you cook him? What would you cook for him for dinner? Or would you cook for him? Or would you take him out? Where would you take him? Fucking hell. You're kind of making it out as if I'm gay, and I would take Peter Cullen out for a meal. Well, I don't know. I mean, first of all, I'd ask Peter what he likes. You know, does he prefer to have a takeaway, or would he prefer to go out for a meal? I would then also ask him what, you know, if I did cook something for him, I'd ask him what was his favourite meal, what does he really like to eat on a special occasion, and I'll cook that, even though it probably might kill him. I mean, what else? You know, if it was a takeaway, I'd just say, well, a pizza is always best. You know, you can't go about a pizza, or Chinese, or anything like that. Indian. I don't know. I probably, you know, I probably wouldn't cook anything for him. I'd probably end up going out for a meal, let somebody else do it. That's probably what Peter Cullen's answer is. Right, and last but not least, Orion Zero, Orino, or whatever. Question: who's your favourite Transformer, Hasbro / Takara of 2013? Also unreleased bots included. As of late, my favourite Transformer Hasbro Takara of this year, I haven't actually got it yet, and it would be the 30th anniversary Fortress Metroplex. I really want to get that toy, and I would say that's probably the most impressive figure I've seen for many years and this year. But it's another one that hasn't unreleased yet. It's I've pre-ordered 2 figures. I'm not going to mention what they are because I don't want to bring that to it. But I've pre-ordered 2 figures that are coming out November this year at some point, and yeah, I'll probably put those on that list as well. So yeah, thank you very much. That's all the questions, all the people that participated. Not as many as past questions, because it took me ages to do these answer videos. But anyway, so thank you very much for participating. Thank you for your patience, and thank you again to Bubs and Nick for reminding me about all this. So thank you. I'll be back soon with more videos. Thank you. See you later, and I'll be back soon.